Hello and welcome to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament broadcast. This is Nightcat. I will be your host for today. This is take 2 on attempting to record this. When I was first trying to record it, for whatever reason, I was getting no audio out of OpenBW. But in true troubleshooting fashion, turning it off and on again seems to have fixed the problem. So yay! But thankfully I didn't get too far into the replay, so not all that much is spoiled for me. I mentioned when I was first recording this as well that it was mentioned that a lot of Zerglings were harmed in the making of this replay, so I am expecting there to be a lot of Zergling chaos and mayhem in this particular ZVZ. Speaking of it being a Vee Zed, we have in the top right infested Artosis spawning as the Teal Zerg on Andromeda, and down at the bottom left we have Brian Weber spawning as the Red Zerg, who has opted for a 6 pool, or a 7 or 6 pool. I'm not actually sure which one it was exactly, but when I was trying to do take 1, I noticed that I believe it was built with a 7 supply drone. And then Brian Weber is going to go ahead and scout up at the top left. Meanwhile, this Overlord confirms that bottom right is not the location. And I think as a player, what you would want to actually do is send all of your lings up to the top right and one link to the left. So that way, if they are at the left, you can just divert the lings from, like, they'll be, like, around the middle or, like, here. You can just divert them to the other base. But this will delay the rush just a little bit here. 12 hatch for Infested Artosis here, under siege, but it could take a little bit of a beating. Enough time for some Zerglings to come out and help click the Screaming Bird, though it won't scream in OpenBW. The hatchery does get taken down, so that will be a big hit to Infested Artosis. A lot of Zerglings chasing a single Zergling in the main area. I think that does get cleaned up, and now going to go ahead and push these back. Still, okay, there is a gas for Brian Weber now. Both of them are getting speed, although interestingly enough, Brian Weber's speed is going to be done before Infested Artosis. That may be because of the Zerglings that were forced to be made while that hatchery was under siege. We've got a fair bit of fighting going on in the middle of the map here with the Zerglings. It's very annoying to have to hunt down AI Zerglings with your own Zerglings. Infested Artosis did get another hatchery in the main, so did divert its plan based on what was happening, which is great to see. We have Brian Weber actually taking a hatchery at a mineral only, which could be a problem if Infested Artosis were to go for Mutalisks, because then that's 3 different spots you have to be able to defend with anti-air. But there are a lot of Zerglings on the field for Infested Artosis, but they're getting distracted by these stray Zerglings. I'm not sure if Infested Artosis knows. Okay, he knows where Brian Weber is now. I was gonna say, he might not have known where Brian Weber was located at. But yeah, we've got like these squads of Zerglings that are just chasing these individual Zerglings. And it's really buying time here for Brian Weber. Now we've got a decent-ish size pack, but Infested Artosis' pack is larger, causing Brian Weber's to split up. And again, we get more chases going underway. Drone gets picked off. There is a sunken here, or actually 3 sunkens here at the natural now. We have a lair droning up happening for Brian Weber. Just more Zergling production. Let's take a look at the army real quick. There's only 1 Zergling out on the field right now, and it's being chased by all 30 of Infested Artosis' Zerglings, just about. What's interesting is when it goes up the ramp, the Zerglings just decide that the ramp isn't worth it. But now here we have an actual split happening of the Zerglings. Some pressure being applied to the sunken colony here. 1 goes down, but gonna go ahead and be replaced. If the full Zergling army was there, this might have broken it. Infested Artosis here engaging with more Sunkens, attempting to go down here in another hatchery up above the ramp, but there just isn't enough here, I don't think, to hold this off. And all the Sunkens fall now. The drones are going to fall here. Brian Weber got the lair, but never got any lair tech. If a single... well, here comes some Hydralisks. Never mind. I was going to say, if a single Mutalisk was made, then it probably would have looked quite a bit different here. But Hydralisks come in now, so... It's interesting that the Hydralisks are closing up all the way in between attacks. This must be something with the orders that the AI is issuing to the Hydralisks. But with that, Infested Artosis is going to go ahead and take the win. Let me try repositioning this again. Hold on 1 second. It was like a little bit low. There we go. When units were actually filling it up. Go ahead and speed the cleanup up just a little bit. We will move on to our next game. Right, so game number 2 has us with Hans Bredberg spawning as the Red Terran up at the top right of Benzene. And Trident spawning as the Orange Terran down at the bottom left, who is the author of Trident is Hao Pan, or Hao Pan's author, so it'll be exciting to see what Trident has to offer here against the nuclear slinging Hans Bredberg. So this will not be your typical Ted v Ted, as Hans Bredberg is pure bio with ghosts and nukes. But I expect something a little more traditional looking to come out of Trident. So one Marine each right now. Hans Bredberg going for a fast expansion. Looks like we have got the factory coming down. Trident going for a bunker up on the high ground, which is an interesting choice. This was looking like it could have been a factory fast expand or or like an aggressive one-base play. Still could be an aggressive one-base play, but kind of floating a bit of gas here, having kept 3 on the gas. Oh, we've got, okay, so it's Starport Rush. An SCV ready for repair. We've got a science facility out of Trident already. Where? Oh, okay, it's down at the bottom there. Siege mode is out with siege tanks. No medics yet for Hans Bredberg. So these Marines are just going to get shredded by the tank on the high ground. Jeez, that was a bit of a massacre there. Actually, what's funny is Hans Bredberg is the one that's known for ghosts. But Trident actually going for ghosts and getting a nuclear silo, so not even getting a comsat. Sneaking past the pack of Marines there. We're gonna keep an eye on that dropship on the mini-map here. As the Marines dance in the range of the siege tank here. Dropship is approaching up at the top. Oh, looks like it stopped for the moment. So the nuke is not quite finished yet. So nice coordination to see here. Okay, the dropship is landed. Ghost does a single attack, and then we'll start to nuke. Oh no, Hans isn't running the workers away, but did run the army away a bit. Comsat goes down. All of the workers just gone. Very nice nuke to see. This is recoverable, maybe, for... Oh no. Repair! Repair the command center! Hans is expanding more on the map, but not repairing that command center. Trying to go ahead and moving out after the nuke drop. Will be repelled a bit though, so the tanks did fall back. Going ahead and taking an expansion. Looks like picking up another ghost. I can't tell if the nuke has been made. It doesn't seem to show up in the army tab. Well, the engineering bay burning down in the middle of the map, going to probably fall. Another dropship coming across here. The buildings in the main did indeed burn down, so Hans Bredberg does not have logic to repair its burning structures. I still can't exactly tell if nuke was made yet or not. I'm guessing a nuke has not been made. No worker transfer from the main to the natural. Would like to see that from Trident, because transferring your overbuilding in your base and then transferring is really powerful. Looks like the Marines are going to overrun as the tanks took this long way around, but they're going to cut off reinforcements, but this natural might be in trouble if there's nothing there to stop the band of Marines and medics that made it through. But it looks like they are going to fall back. Oh, there are ghosts. There's a cloaked ghost, but there should be comsats. Yeah, there are comsats for Hans. Hans re-expanding back into its natural, or sorry, its main. But yeah, these tanks, they could probably just sit here and stay sieged. Ghosts are out now for Hans Bredberg, making a ton of them. Lockdown being researched now, but the ghosts have to live for a little bit in order to get the energy to use lockdown. Sight range, actually, you pretty much need that upgrade if you're going to be going nukes. But it looks like it was just the one nuke, unfortunately, from Trident. The dropship with the ghost is in position to drop another nuke, but I don't think a second nuke was ever made. But a rather low supply TVT here. Hans Bredberg goes ahead and taps out, gives the win to Trident. So very cool to see. Just a different approach there. With that nuke drop, let's get ourselves into game 3 here, which will be Monster spawning as the Blue Zerg up at the top left, and Crazio spawning as the Purple Terran up at the top right. There was some talk about a few different ways to maybe beat Monster in TVZ, so I think a couple of our replays might be Monster-centric, or Monster and Crazio-centric. His Monster is a very powerful Zerg AI. I've played it on Schnell a few times here and there, and it's rather robust and strong. You can definitely cheese it with some funky stuff, which you can do to most of the AIs still. But if you try to play a straight-up game against it, if it gets to Defilers, it will be a nightmare for you. AI-controlled Defilers are absolutely scary. Oh, and drone goes down. Whoops. But Monster knows where Crazio is. I believe it saw the gas building, so should suspect that this is going to be mech. and Crazio scouts monster. Factory started here for Crazio. I think this might be 2.3, 2.5 hatch? Or no, it's, I think 3 hatch if this hatchery started before the gas. Let's finish this up. Overlord peeking in to see what's happening. Confirms 100% factory there. Sunken on the way to prevent any sort of vulture run by. We have a little marine vulture squad, but the sunken is in place. We also have the nicely placed vultures, or sorry, zerglings to prevent any vulture from attempting to run past the sunken. Machine shop is getting siege mode, it looks like, and we've got stim on the way, but these units are just going to be able to sit out in front. Once siege mode is done, though, we will be able to siege the sunken here. So the sunken will fall. Second sunken will fall. But the spire is done, and so we've got the mutalisks on the way here. More sunkens continuing to be built. Sort of as a delay tactic here. Mutalisks are out. There's only 6 of them, though. Bait out a stim. Trying to find a way to maybe hit the tank. There's a second tank coming now with an SCV here. Mutalisks, it look like, are trying to find, or deciding to go aggressive instead of defensive, but I think really, the monster has a lot of money too. I think something's a little bit off with its production. This probably could have been held when those mutalisks hatched if some zerglings had been made as well. I feel like this should have been defensible, but I mean, in the end, Crazio is going to come out with the win here with this little siege push against the Sunkens. Very well executed here by Crazio. Mutalisks are going to come in now and try to do something, but then they're just going to go ahead and run away. I think there might be a little bit too much on the emphasis on the preservation of mutalisks there, and then there was a lot of money being floated for a bit that could have been zerglings, while there wasn't a whole lot of gas to really help give the mutalisks some cover to try and clear the army. But then again, AI armies are a lot better at targeting, so, you know, maybe it wouldn't have gone as well as something like that would have gone in the human land. But that will be our game 3, so let's go ahead and get game 4 going here, which is another monster versus Crazio, with monster spawning as the yellow Zerg at the top of Python. And we've got close spawns here, Crazio as the teal Terran over here on the right side of the map. And yeah, very, very short air rush distance here with these spawns. So we'll see how the game goes this time. You know, I kind of want to try that rush build that Crazio did there. And I suspect is probably going to do this game too. uh, against a Zerg. And see how it performs against a human. Might be just something interesting to have in the repertoire if there's any level of success it can obtain. There we have the factory started. 3 hatches for sure. This time I'm looking at it, the 3rd hatchery is started. Before the gas here, we have the SCV Scout come in. The thing with this map too is like Vulture run by is so much more threatening because like where are you gonna place your sunken? You place all the way over here, the Vulture could just park over here. You place it over here to defend that sort of thing, then they can just run by and up into the main. Like, the naturals for Python are just some of the worst naturals in any map pool. What I could see this build being a bit weak to, potentially, is like a 9 pool or something like that. Which I'm guessing that monster generally doesn't do. Because with the machine shop, you've just got a later Vulture. And so there could be some trouble there. So yeah, monster going for 2 Sunkens here. Right up at the front. This is still kind of run-buyable, but the Zerglings on the ramp should be able to hold it off. Spire's on the way. Hankins here. Siege is done. So we begin to see the siege of the natural. The Zerglings run in. Would have preferred to see them hold back until Spire and some mutas are out. Nice cancel on the Sunken Colony there, as the life was low enough that it would have died if it finished transforming, or would have been at like 1 hit point, or however the engine handles it. More Sunkens, or more creeps being morphed to morph into Sunkens to delay this push here. Mutalisks are about to be out. The hatchery is under siege, though. Monster could really use some ground units to coordinate with these Mutalisks. Mutalisks moving around the army, though. Again, not trying to pick off the tank, but will be picking off reinforcements this time. Ooh, the 2nd tank gets caught. That was a big pick. And now actually getting into the main to harass here. Natural is still under siege, though. The drones being pulled, the Mutalisks coming back, but not engaging. Drones are starting to fall here. It looks like it's starting to look like a repeat of... Yeah, all the drones are gone now. Oh, but the Mutalisks coming back in. Yeah, Mutalisks actually engaging here. The tank was a bit exposed. And how many Mutalisks are there on the field? 11, and not quite all of them are engaged in this fight. But I think there's like 9. Monster able to survive with 5 drones now. And Crazio is still just on 1 base, but so is Monster, knocked back down to 1 base. Somehow that SCV survived. I guess there's not enough to like one-shot SCVs there. This should still be Crazio's game. Well, it's their game to lose, right, I think. Because they knocked Monster down to almost 0 drones here. Vulture going out to scout. The one thing that is concerning to me, though, is Crazio is still just being on the 1 base. That has a lot. So, like, there's a big mineral buildup, but no gas, right? That mineral buildup could be spent taking an expansion here. But I guess with Mutalisks on the field, it's a bit scary to go ahead and commit to taking that base, right? But now we have a move out with the Goliaths and some Marines. I'm imagining that there are not any medics because gas is so tight right now. Turrets being put down. That natural. The Mutalisks are kind of being forced to stay home, though, because just so much damage was taken there. Natural starting to be retaken by Monster, but there's a lot of Goliaths here. And the upgrades are... No? Okay, +1 weapons for the Mutalisks now. They're going to go ahead and dive in on this main a bit, trying to bring home this force, but this force is just going to move forward in the absence of the Mutalisks here. Turrets being thrown down as well now. A couple of tanks managed to make it to the front. Mutalisks trying to dive back in here, but I think Crazio is going to wrap this one up. There was just way too much damage done. It was just going to take way too long for Monster to recover here. So nicely played by Crazio. Like I said, I was a little bit worried because Crazio was one base for so long and not expanding, but they managed to get that expansion up and get back in here with a nice Goliath heavy force to be able to clear up those Mutalisks. So well done there. We move on to our next game here, which is going to see Trident, again spawning as the White Terran, or on the right side of Icarus. And down at the bottom, we have Wilbot spawning as the Red Zerg. See what build these two decide to go for. Very TVZ filled day today. Let's flip back over to the production tab here. We've got Overpull coming from Wilbot. And it looks like we will be seeing mech with the refinery being built for Trident. Not sure what that droid was doing. He was just moving out there a little bit and then falling back. Got a creep colony with a sunken going down. The CB scout on its way to find where Wilbot is located. Factory on the way here. Second hatchery in the main coming up for Wilbot. We have the circling scout coming out to find where Trident is located. Some pretty interesting building placement here for Trident, but Vulture is out. Circling is going to go ahead and find Trident here shortly. Looks like this will be a nuke rush again. So we've got a science facility all the way in the back, plus the starport here. Excuse me, a little bit of congestion today. Sorry about that. Okay, Covert Ops is on the way. Another Zergling coming out to scout here. Robot just sort of silently here, growing its army a bit. Checking out the spawning pool. Seems like this build would be very susceptible to a lurker opening. I mean, it is getting the engineering bay now, but I feel like if it were like one hatch lurker all in or something like that, Probably would not have detection in time. But the Ghost is loaded up. We get to see this nuke go off here. Nuke is under construction. Dropship is parked and ready. There is a lurker out, actually, so lurker tech is on the field for Willbot. And the nuke is done. Sight range is underway. Personnel cloaking is researched. Cloak. Oh, it attacks. So unfortunately, the army responds in kind and just absolutely kills that right away. So unfortunately, that nuke is wasted, but another one is being constructed now. Trident will try again. Meanwhile, Willbot is expanding to its natural. Trident doing a bit of a push here. Able to pull out small packs of units, but again, there's no mobile detection right now for Trident. So the lurkers, yeah, they're just going to kind of tear this army apart. And Willbot should repel this. You managed to repel it successfully. Zergling might not have seen that natural going down. So nicely done there by Willbot to hold that initial aggression off. I think there is another dropship ready for another nuke attempt here. And I believe that nuke did complete. You saw a second one building. So yeah, nukes don't show up under army or anything. There's no way to check in OpenBW if a nuclear silo is armed, which is a little bit sad. A nice shot there while the lurkers were kind of unsieged. Ooh, that mine and the splash damage from the tank. The tank goes down again. Well-mined corridor here for Trident. Actually, wait, did I miss a nuke? I think I missed a nuke. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this spot eventually, because that layer is damaged. I don't think it should be. That's a problem with OpenBW and replays, is that you don't get like the alert that a nuke has launched when it happens. Able to clear the small army outside of its natural. Again, yeah, okay. I missed it, because now there's another nuke under construction, and I know it built a second one at some point. Another attempt to push it in here, but yeah, the lurkers are dealing tons of damage. There's no comsat still, but there are a couple of science vessels out now. That nuke completes. Hive is on the way. Just double check. Okay, actually it does show when a nuke is built. Okay. In the army tab, so that's good to see. Oh, we're nuking the front now. Okay. Lurkers running back from the nuke. But now they're not running back forward. Actually, that's interesting. You could hit the army from the high ground with your lurkers. That's really interesting to see. I didn't think of that as a possibility. But there's no detection here on this ramp. This lurker just racking up kills. Yeah, Trident is just kind of struggling to advance against this burrowed lurkers here. They all get taken out at this point. I think a lurker just finished somewhere. Okay, yeah, finished and burrowed there. It was next to the hatchery. This defense matrixed Marine was taking so many lurker shots. But yeah, the natural falls, and now I don't think Willbot can clear the army that has amassed for Trident. There is another nuke available. Maybe we'll see one drop on these Sunkens. Oh, there's just enough tanks that are good. They're just going to be able to clear it. A nice little fun game. I gotta check back for that second nuke, though. Oh, there was another nuke. Third one. There we go on the Sunkens. Nice, nice. Actually, that was the fourth nuke, I think, of the game. Because, yeah, I'm pretty sure I missed one on the main structure. We'll let the unsieged tanks fire down at the Zerg buildings here. And with that, Trident gets the win. But again, like I said, I want to see the second nuke. So, first one failed. That was the first attempt. Where was the second one? See, you hear the little sound effect if you're near it, but if you aren't near it... Yeah, this is the one. Slow it down to like quarter speed. All those drones just gone. The Willbot did a pretty decent job recovering after that. Dropping all the way down to 2 workers, though. So that's why... that was right when that natural was making. Okay, so yeah, I was over here watching what was happening at the front, I believe. But that was a pretty fun game. Go ahead and get our next game loaded up, though. And this will be our final game of today. We've got Stardust down at the bottom right. It took me a moment to see the purple on the mini-map here. Spawning as the purple Terran, or sorry, purple Protoss. And we've got Crazio up in the top left, spawning as the white Terran. And we are on Circuit Breakers, which is a map that sometimes still gets used in human play today. But I think there are issues with it that make it not preferred. But it's still a fun map. Looks like we're getting a wall here, up at the top of the ramp. Unfortunately, with this wall, the Marines will pop out on their own side. And we're even getting a bunker here. We have a gate and a core. Stardust, as we know, loves the Dragoon micro range being upgraded here. Scout gets picked off. Stardust can't really ascertain what is going on in the Terran's main, though. And gas is still being gathered by multiple workers. So this is looking like... Okay, so we've got a second factory now on the way. I think it's a little bit late compared to normal 2 factory timings, like you'd typically want that. I think your second one to start about halfway through the first one. Dragoon's trying to find a spot here that they can sit and safely harass. Kind of managed to find one, but the problem is that they're on low ground, so some of their shots are going to miss. Which actually, as a human player, would be very annoying to deal with. But yeah, they do have to kind of step forward a little bit because they one of them needs to get onto that high ground in order to have vision for them to be able to target stuff. Yeah, looks like siege mode is done. There is a lot of heavy pressure here on this front. Lifts the barracks. There are a lot of Dragoons. If those Dragoons were to charge forward, Crazio could have potentially been in trouble, but now there's a second tank. They're positioned back pretty well with some depots acting as a wall for them, so I think Crazio is going to be okay despite the goon numbers outside here. Because, yeah, goons are going to just kind of slowly be bled to the siege mode here. And I think we've got 2 factory shop production here of tanks. Yeah, both factories have a shop. We've got more upgrades on the way of research. So, Ultra Speed already done. Mine's just finishing up here. Crazy are going to be able to push these goons. Whoops, sorry. Hit the microphone cable there. Going to be able to push these goons back. Should be able to secure this natural. Stardust behind this, going up to a 4th base, actually. So, got the 3rd going ahead and... actually, sorry, 5th base. We've got the 3rd, 4th, and then this is the 5th. Crazy, just getting their natural up, so Stardust really going for greed here. Templar Archives just finishing up. There's a shuttle out. I'm not sure what's in it, though. Observers are on the way. I don't see... I'm looking like to see if we get Arbiter Tech or anything out. Stardust taking the top right here. Stardust trying to come across this bridge, not very well advised. I mean, if Stardust can keep Crazio contained here, Stardust could just take over the map and wait until Crazio's resources run out. I mean, at some point, Crazy is going to have to try and come across the bridge, right? And that's when you can sort of like pounce. But Crazy could just expand up along the top here, too. It looks like some vultures are getting up that way, as we see on the mini-map here. Okay, Arbiter is on the way now. It'd be really cool to see a recall. Like, this right side is kind of exposed, although it's going to be closed up a bit with this being taken, but that's just a depot, though. Yeah, Crazy just at 132 supply. Holding back a 200 supply Protoss. 3rd base being established here for Crazio, up along that corridor I was talking about. Officers getting out on the map, able to assess what is going on, taking on some zealots. Stardust diving in here, but losing a lot of troops. Quickly able to spend, though, to replace those troops. Where is the Arbiter? There's one that should be done a while ago. Oh, here we go. Destroyed the front now, so gonna force some scans out from Crazio, but Crazio's army is just slowly getting bigger and bigger. while Stardust's is slowly getting smaller and or staying the same. Defense Matrix went down on something, but I think it died already. There we go. Pretty juicy stasis there, but still, just the power of the terrain really helping Crazio here. This third, though, I think is going to be forced to lift. Or at least temporarily run the SCVs away for a moment. But yeah, then Stardust is going to sort of be forced to fall back here as Crazio is making their way across this bridge now. Where are the upgrades? Ah, 3-3 on the way for Crazio, so yeah. Very powerful mech army here. There's a few good stasis here and there, but... yeah, Crazio able to break out and claim as much of the map control as it is right now. It's not looking good for Stardust here. I think this is like one of the weaknesses of Stardust, is that it's just not quite able to be powerful in full army versus full army situations. Like, the army is just a... see, like, I don't even think a single shot was... hold on. I went back a little too far. So, okay. Shot. I just want to see something here. A couple of shots on the buildings. There was a shot on a vulture. Look how few shots Stardust is actually getting off. The Zealots are literally doing nothing here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not, like, saying this, like, you know, oh, Stardust is trash. That's not at all what I mean by this criticism, but, like, this is one of the weaknesses of Stardust. Is just, look, there were, like, no shots fired there by Stardust. And, like, half of its army was obliterated. That's part of the problem with a lot of these, like, hyper-micro-focused dancing army tactics, is that sometimes the army just dances in death range and doesn't do anything except die. And that's one of the struggles with AI development is, you know, like, in small army situations, these Dragoons are absolutely deadly. That micro is absolutely insane, but you get a lot of siege... like, siege tanks are one of the hardest units to deal with as an opposing AI. Just because their range is so massive, and they're typically out of view and can still hit you. So, like, how do you handle that? It's tricky. But a very healthy tank count here from Crazio as they reach the natural. I mean, this game is going to probably go on for a little bit more still, but, like, because there's a lot of bases to clean up. But all of Stardust's production is here in this natural, or sorry, in this main. There is no production at the other main that it was able to take. And Crazio is just taking more bases on the map. Like, what I would have loved to see in that engagement here is just Stardust commit with the army it has, and then replace that army through its macro cycle, right? It's fine if your army drops if you've got macroed reinforcements to replace it when it's dropped, right? But instead, like, there's this idea of preserving the army strength as much as possible that kind of, I think, hinders some of the AI tactics, where they then do that sort of dance until they just lose their army without inflicting any damage, like, at all. That Crazy is just going to clean up this main. There is a restart, though, up at this top right. So, I mean, this main is mined out. I think Stardust would have been a little bit better if this main was already built up, but I think I'm starting to smell a hamburger or something, and it's making me hungry. I'm a little bit distracted there by that. Nice, cute little Wraith here plinking away at this assimilator. It looks like the Tribunal here almost got taken out. Main being cleaned up. Crazio now expanding even to this top right. Because one of the things that's kind of cool to see is, like, even though, like, victory is well within sight, right, the AI is still just like, I will expand everywhere. I must just continue to press my advantage in every single way that I can. And it's only taking, like, 5,000 APM, 6,000 APM. That's all. Forward turrets being placed, science vessels out. But production is back in full swing for Stardust. A lot of Dragoons coming out here. But where they're trying to go, I don't know. I thought maybe they were going to dive on the tanks, but they're taking a weird, funky angle. I think they're just trying to walk past the army. There at least was one shot on a tank here, but that was quickly repaired. Zealots come running out. Could try to run up on the tanks there, but yeah, they just kind of get cleared out. Now an Arbiter comes down like, hey guys, I'm late to the party, sorry. There's actually a Nexus building somewhere. What? That was weird to see. Nice little arc here of tanks shelling up onto the high ground. I like this replacement base layout, though. It's kind of nice looking. Crazy now, even expanding here. Take all this map, are belong to me. But yeah, there's just the one mining base. Crazio has pretty solidly won at this point, though. Another wave of Dragoons comes out. Nice EMP, though. Defensive. The Zealots aren't even attacking. They're just running up on the tank and why are they not attacking? Like, at that point, if you're next to the tank, you should be attacking. You shouldn't just be running, waiting for splash damage from other tanks. So maybe a little something funky happening there as well for Stardust, but it was a good try by Stardust, but really, like, these bridges are hard to deal with. If the Terran can get set up in the appropriate spot, those bridges are just a nightmare. He's just going to go ahead and clear this. We'll just up the speed a little bit here. And real quick, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Links below for the Patreon, for I believe the Discord is there too. You can also watch these live on Twitch as long as the stream is up and running. And feel free to recommend games in the replays channel on the Discord. Will most likely get casted if you post the link to the replay there. One last base remains for Stardust. Tribunal did fall. And wait. Where's this probe going? What? Okay. Just went out there where there's nothing. I think Crazy is going to come in and clean this up. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Until next time, take care, everybody.